parts towards morning, lows of 4 to 7 degrees. And now up to date on News Talk.
The Football Show on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, the greatest football partnership since Shearer and Owen.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then. What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
Now, welcome along to the Football Show. They're back out for the second half at Villa Park. 0-0 between Aston Villa and West Ham. The high point in some respects of the first half was a clash between teammates El Ghazi and Tyrone Mings. El Ghazi lent the head in. If it was an opposition player, you suspect Tyrone Mings would have went down holding his head. As it was, they just continued to shout at each other a little bit and presumably sorted things out at half-time. But it's 0-0 at Villa Park. As for the Premier League weekend that was, we'll hear later on from Stephen Kelly and Stephen Doyle, who sat through Watford 2, Arsenal 2 at Vicarage Road and tried to make sense of just what went wrong for Arsenal. Their captain Xhaka came out afterwards and said in the second half, after going 2-0 up, we were too scared in the second half. Nobody wanted the ball. In the end, we were just happy to take a point. We didn't show our game in the second half. We were too scared. So that's on the way. Stephen Kelly and Stephen Doyle. Kind of a grim way of putting things from an Arsenal point of view. Elsewhere across the weekend, Liverpool beat Newcastle 3-1. Firmino quite brilliant. Rashford scored a penalty for Manchester United against Leicester, 1-0 win there. Chelsea continued to be everybody's second favourite team. Spurs were really impressive against Crystal Palace, 4-0 winners in the end. And then Norwich 3, Manchester City 2. Suddenly a 5-point gap at the top of the table, which brings us to Pat Nevin. Hello, Pat.
How are you doing? You well?
Very well. I was half wondering what would happen if Tyrone Mings had gone down clutching his face to get his own teammate sent off.
It would be just the sort of thing they would do because it's a natural thing to do these days. Yeah. Look for a problem there.
Yeah. So interesting times. 5-point lead. It's not nothing.
Well, considering the amount of the few amount of points that like Liverpool have dropped, Manchester City have dropped through the very season recently. It's quite incredible. I mean, look at Liverpool last season. Did they lose one game in the league last season? One game. And that Manchester City at Manchester City, if I remember correctly.
I'll tell you what, I'm just going to jump in before we go any further. We're going to get your microphone sorted out in just 1 second. We're going to go to a quick ad break and we will 100% get your ad break or get your microphone sorted out in 2 seconds. Back with you, Pat. Sorry.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Paddy Power, the greatest football partnership since Duff and Heskey.
This week, News Talk is taking the show on the road. We've teamed up with Lidl to bring you all the food, farming and culture of the National Ploughing Championships in Ballantrae, Fenagh, County Carlow. The Pat Kenny Show, Lunchtime Live, Moncrief and The Hard Shoulder will all be broadcasting live from Lidl's Big Green Barn, along with Off the Ball and Tech Talk. So make sure you stop by or tune in. News Talk at the National Ploughing Championships, September 17th to 19th, in association with Lidl. See newstalk.com and follow us on social media for more.
Have you noticed something different about Lidl's ads this week? They've allocated all of their spend towards supporting Jigsaw, the National Centre for Youth Mental Health, shining a light on the power of listening for young people and their mental health. Check out Lidl.ie/OneGoodAdult.
International football is more exciting than ever.
Remember that first time on the terraces, where it all began? The heroes, the villains, the highs, the lows. All the while, you were learning. Now use that knowledge on Football Index. Join tens of thousands of fans trading the world's top players. Football Index. The game changed. App available. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Gamble responsibly.
This is Brian. Brian has just managed to break his business into a number of new markets.
Whoa!
How? By getting his company an internationally recognized certification in quality standards, giving Brian a much greater advantage over his competitors.
Yes!
Lucky Brian. Find out how you too can get your business on the road to greater success with an internationally recognized seal of approval by visiting nsai.ie today.
Want a new TV in time for the Rugby World Cup? Then kick your old one into touch and score a great deal at appliancesdelivered.ie. Like the Blue Diamond 39-inch with built-in soundbar for just $199.95. The Akai 50-inch Ultra HD TV for only $399.95. And the Philips 58-inch 4K Smart TV for just $599.95. And don't forget the speakers and accessories. Go on, give it a try! Order online at appliancesdelivered.ie.
A hungry feeling came over me stealing.
But it's all over! Dublin have won the All-Ireland for 2015. It's taken them 2 tremendous games, but they have retained their title. A truly remarkable achievement. And Dublin are again the champions. The 3 in a row.
All along the banks of the Royal Canal.
There's no one that can match me. My style is impetuous. My defense is impregnable. Prove to everybody in the world that I am the best. Nobody can touch me.
Kaliski's just scored from a place ball, and he is now put one over the bar from play. Tyrone are very much on top in this All-Ireland final.
5-1 down, double players didn't blink, and that meant resolve.
And it's a penalty awarded by the referee against Morgan. 21 minutes into this All-Ireland, and he buries it. Top corner, unstoppable.
Look, we're just trying to knock them down as they come. I don't know if we're counting. We got a decent performance today, but as I say, when we look back and we probably do a bit better.
Callahan, who's getting a lot of ball now. Callahan towards goal. He's brought down. Still penalty, but it is a goal. Tapped in with the hand by Niall Scully, and suddenly Dublin now lead by 5.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
All right, welcome back. So, hopefully, Pat Nevin, you're with us. Hello.
I am. Sorry about the noises there. Do you know what happened?
Go on.
Because we cut off a few times over last few months, so I bought a brand new computer to make sure that it all works well.
It's going really well.
And it's not quite working yet, so I put them out with the knobs over the next couple of days, but we'll have to do with this at the moment.
Well, we'll persevere. We lost you just as you were making the point that in the context of Liverpool only having lost 1 game last season, 5 points is not nothing. No,
it's huge. And considering they don't look in any great danger, I mean, I was looking at some of the statistics of the teams they'd lost to over the last couple of years. And it was, the season before last, they lost to Chelsea in the last couple of games of the season, 1-0, which is slightly worrying for them, and they're down at Stamford Bridge again at the weekend. But apart from that, you're talking only a couple of cup games, and you know what it was like. They weren't taking the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup particularly seriously. So if Liverpool have got their heads right and think, no, we'll go for the league again and we'll not worry about the domestic cups, you're right. That's a big, it's a big number of points. I mean, it was a stunning defeat, obviously, for Manchester City, but Liverpool, when you look at them, it's not really looked like dropping that many points, have they, over the last wee while? And even, most of the games are kind of cruising to it. And the way that, Manu and Salah are scoring, and Firmino, you mentioned there right at the start, it has quality. It was unbelievable. They actually, they didn't say it, but I'm going to say it, I think they actually look better now, them 3 together, than they did before. Yeah. So that's a real concern for Manchester City, I think.
Yeah, I only saw highlights of that Liverpool 3 Newcastle 1 game, and Origi got injured and Firmino came off the bench. But I did think it was, I don't know, it was death by 1,000 cuts. There was the moment where Firmino scooped the ball over someone for Robertson, and you kind of thought, God, everything here is just humming. Like the relationships are deepening. They're at that. They seem to be at that beautiful stage where the relationships are already phenomenal, but they're getting better almost by the month. That's
what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean. You look at the 3 of them together, and it's getting towards telepathic now, and that's really hard to stop because it's not as if they're playing little 1-2s that you can spot. I mean, one of the back heels that led to the goals that Firmino did, it must have sent about 3 players about 2 or 3 yards the wrong way. They didn't even have an idea of which direction the ball was going to go, but his teammate knew, and because they make those runs, and I suppose one of the great things, if you get someone like Firmino or Salah to some degree, he will just make the runs because he will see you, or it's hard to even say he'll see you. He will just be aware of you, aware of that's your normal run, or you're even looking the other direction. You know, lots of players can do this, but not as often as they can, where they know you've made the run, you know, and they've computed it in their mind that 5 seconds later, that's where you should be if you keep on making that run. And they don't have to look or consider it. And that's where, as you say, Firmino, the flicks and the tricks were great. But with the spatial awareness, I thought was absolutely fantastic on top of that.
For any of those three individuals, an approach from a club like Barcelona or Real Madrid is very hard to resist. And yet on some level, they must be acutely aware of the fact that the three of them together seem to make each of them look better than they might otherwise be. I wonder, will they ever sit around to each other and say, do you know what, we got a good thing going here. We should try and stay together for the next couple of years. I don't think football quite works like that.
It doesn't usually, but you look at the personality sometimes, and that makes a difference. And you just look at the personality of Salah, and you think, does he really want to go anywhere else when he seems to have found what is his spiritual home? Firmino, similarly, I couldn't say the same for Mane. I don't know, but you look like personalities them two that think, no, we've got a very good thing going here. You can go somewhere else, and you know, there's lots of players that have moved other places, and it just doesn't suit because for a variety of reasons. You know, you've not got the same players around you. Correct, that's one thing, but also the different styles of different teams. I mean, you know, a Barcelona might suit, you know, any of those three, but maybe a Real Madrid wouldn't. So, you know, the limitations of who they could go for which is a step up. And remember, you're talking about European champions here, so I don't really know. I mean, watching someone like, Hazard going over to Real Madrid, I mean, he still left it 7 years, didn't he, before he made that move. And for them, I think there's plenty more to do where they are just now. And I think for them, along with everybody else at Liverpool, if you're in the city and they talk, they want to win the league. They are absolutely desperate to win this Premier League. And if they win that Premier League, then maybe after that they might start thinking, okay, what's the next thing? But it's hard to see they'll get much better than that because they're in the perfect position with a manager, you know, who they love working for. I mean, that's another big thing as well. You might go somewhere else that might change managers every 2 minutes. Doesn't look as if that's going to happen with Jurgen Klopp. They're settled there. So, yeah, they might move, but I don't think that's any time soon.
Norwich were bereft of a number of first-team starters. Daniel Farke was saying that they couldn't park the bus because, frankly, they didn't have enough defenders and they had 2 goalkeepers in the bench because they weren't sure Tim Krul would get through the game at all. In 20 months at the club, Stones and Otamendi have played together 6 times in 20 months. So that partnership is bearing the brunt of the heat raining down on Man City at the moment. What did you make of this?
It was kind of ridiculous. I think that's the only way you can describe it. They're passing out for the back with Otamendi. I mean, that's just laughable. I don't think Manchester City should stop doing that because it's worked incredibly well for a long time. But the personnel doing it has to be considered. Stones couldn't believe it when Otamendi was basically playing for the opposition most of the time. And then watching the two of them doing just the basic things of, you know, trying to hold a line together, it was, again, that was just ridiculous. And I think it was Otamendi at one point, no, it was Walker, you know, for one of the goals. I mean, he's 4 yards behind the rest of the line. And he's the one, if you're the wide fullback, left or right, you're not the deep one because you can look across. You can look exactly where the line is. And I was watching the TV and I thought to myself, why are you not stepping up there? And I had time to actually process that, say that, and still didn't do it. And then the ball was played. And you're thinking, and I think with Walker, the reason why he did that is because his pace always gets him out of trouble, or almost gets him out of trouble. So he can usually, you know, make that sort of mistake. On that occasion, he didn't, you know, make up for the mistake. But they just do not look like a group. They don't look like a back line that can work together. And I suppose one of the things is the Manchester City over the last number of years, they didn't have to be that good defensively because they were never tested. You know, they weren't under that much stress because of the possession. And this time it was 30% possession Norwich had? Well, that was plenty to get those chances. It is a real concern for Manchester City because everybody now knows what they're going to do. And it's that classic one everyone thinks high press. Right, forget that. When I played, give it to the centre-back that can't play and then push him. That's all you do. It's not complicated. It's not new. This is old magic, as they say in Harry Potter. And that's all you have to do now, give it to Otamendi and then press him because he'll try and pass it out and he's not good enough.
I'll come to Otamendi in a second. On that point you made about Walker, being deeper than Stones, and he had no right to be as the covering defender. That's 100% across every football team. That's just 101, is it? Because sometimes, is there an argument that player behind can see everything, and actually he should be on the cover a little bit, and that both of you should just take your men in that instance?
You should be on the cover, but not if the three are on a line and it's a high line, if you go on the cover, there's no point in them being up in a high line.
Okay.
I mean, what's the point of it?
Yeah.
It's just completely ridiculous. So you've got to see that happening. And I suppose you have to go back a wee bit to Pep and say, is that what you're telling them to do? Well, surely not. I mean, I've never known anyone try to do that, to get the full back to the deeper man, because that's dream scenario for any striker, or particularly any deep lying midfielder who's running beyond them.
And do you put any blame on Stones? Did he have time to look over his shoulder to check where Walker is, or he's within his rights to assume that Walker's not deeper than him?
Well, to be honest, I don't think in that one, that specific one, I wouldn't be looking at Stones. I mean, there's Otamendi, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, he pushed a little bit forward there. One of the two of them pushed a wee bit too far forward into the kind of midfield to try and make the tackle. So that the line is a shambles anyway before it starts. But in the end, if you're playing a high line, you don't play a high jaggy line. You play a high line and you keep it in a line. So, but it's quite clear. If you're talking 90% of it, it's definitely Walker in that situation. But that's what kind of lightning quick players, and he is lightning quick. That's what they do sometimes. I've known plenty of centre-halves I've played with over the years, and they classically are absolutely brilliant if they're quickies, They're really brilliant. Until they lose their pace, then they are, within minutes, the worst player you've ever played with, because they've never learned how to do that line stuff, because they've always got a pace to get them out of it.
On Otamendi, here's a clip I'll play for you now, then I'll come to you on your thoughts on this. Guardiola, invariably, I mean, this is like a Back to the Future, where he was asked in his first year, was he overplaying things out from the back, and he always said no. So he was asked here, given the Otamendi mistake, whether the insistence on playing out from the back had gone too far.
Sometimes, sometimes you see it in the video, we talk, we training more than ever, but it happened. So football is not guaranteed what you're talking about, when you're training about what you have to do. Sometimes it's not a guarantee. Of course, we're going to insist, but the problem that we have here in that situation, so in 2 or 3 seasons, especially last 2, we concede incredible few goals in general, and especially in set pieces. I know we are not the tallest team in the world. I know we are not, but we are built to play in a certain way. We need the quality of the players, but the desire to defend and the way we defend make the difference. What could I say? What could we do? So we are in September. We're going to do that. Okay, congratulations, Liverpool. We are the champion. We're in September. What do we have to do? So recover and go to Ukraine, and after that trying, and we're going back. In the terms, of course, we dropped 5 points, and Tottenham was a pity because we play incredible well. And today, it was in the important part, like I said, pieces, important part that we have to know exactly what you have to do. So it's a joy as a trainer to be with these guys. So I don't know what's going to happen this season until the last part of my period here, but. For not even 1 second or 1 step, I'm going to doubt about what players have done for me, for the club, for everybody. So in that period, it's more close than I am. I'm a guy who say the truth all the time in the locker room. I just speak with them. And in the same time, because I know how they suffer, I know the commitment in every single session and in all we do. That is what we have to do. We are going to keep going every time until the end.
Pat Nevin with us on the line. It's 0-0 between Aston Villa and West Ham, 65 minutes on the clock. Pat, given the patterns of play which you suspect someone like Otamendi has faced time and time again playing for Man City, when Stones gives him the ball, it is very surprising he doesn't anticipate the press.
Yeah, you should. Well, sometimes they don't get it from Manchester City because teams sit off them. There are plenty of teams that just sit back and try and play in the break, so they get easy possession at the back there, so they're not pressed that high. It's just a few teams that have managed to do it over the years. And we think it sounds easy now, but you go and try that press, and if they beat you, then you're in trouble because you're ending up with Silvas and De Bruyne's and Aguero's 1-on-1 with you, and Sterling's. So, you've got to be brave to do that, really brave to do that. And not that many teams do it. Certainly very few do it, at Manchester City's ground. But even away from home, it's very difficult for teams to do it because it's that he kind of wants them to do it. He's not saying that there in that interview, but that's the plan. Yeah, come out and press us if you like, but if we pass through you, you're done. Because we believe then we will have at least 1-on-1 somewhere in the pitch. We will find that 1-on-1 and we back our forwards to do that. And to be fair to him, what he's saying there, it's worked. It's worked incredibly well for a hell of a long time. And okay, so they've blown it in that game there. I mean, the draw they had this season as well was kind of harsh against the Spurs, wasn't it? I mean, it's really harsh to back the Spurs. So you're talking one game. Now and again you have an outlier. I think when you get to 2 or 3 games that's happening all the time, you might have to rethink it. But it's a bit early to throw the baby out with the bathwater on this occasion just because of one game. And it's, they still had all the possession. They still had all the chances and the opportunities. And look at all the figures apart from the goals. I mean, they're ahead in absolutely everything, aren't they? Corners, they're miles ahead. Everything they're miles ahead. And so in a normal game, was it 25 shots they had?
It was 25-7, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's miles ahead, and it's just, you get an outlier now and again. So the idea that you can rip everything up as soon as you have one outlier, it just looks bad at the moment, because if you look around the league, it's happening quite a bit, isn't it? A number of teams are trying to play out and getting caught and getting done, and it looks really, really bad when it happens. You kind of notice it more when it's Manchester City.
Yeah, happened to Arsenal this week as well. So I guess, yes, yeah. Meanwhile, Pat, what's it like to be associated with the most popular team in Britain these days? My God, what a turnaround.
Can I get back to that phrase I said to you earlier in the season? They're going to be exciting and interesting to watch.
You weren't kidding.
They are.
First things first, I presume Tomori is not going to score goals like that on a regular basis, or is he?
No chance. And I'm not even convinced he meant to hit it like that. The ball swerved in such a weird way.
Yeah.
But his defending's been okay. The other thing you look at Chelsea, and I'm looking forward to, I'm going to be at the game tomorrow night against Valencia. The thing I'm looking forward to is, like, if you look at it, but I'm sure you've not looked at the league table, where do they stand in goals lost this season in the league?
Oh, I don't know. What, they're averaging about 2 or 3 a game?
They're second bottom. Only Norwich have lost more goals than them. They're second bottom of the league already. They've scored 11 and they've let in 11. That's mental. It's just this early in the season. And considering historically what, as you said, people get fed up with Chelsea. You look back at the Mourinho days, you look back even to Conte's days. It's all about being steady and set in defence and being sensible defenders and all that. And this is just all over the place, but it is a joy to watch. I mean, it is great fun. And, I don't know if Tammy can keep on scoring the way he's scoring just now, but he just looks absolutely on fire. And the nice thing about it is now everybody's looking at him, when in actual fact, week after week after week now, I watch Mason Mount and I think, oh my God, I cannot believe you are the ghost of Frank Lampard. You have become that guy. And that is a massively high compliment to give to anybody. I'll give you a wee thing to do. If anybody's watching it, anyone out there interested in Chelsea or any team, go and watch all the goals that Chelsea score right this season. But don't watch the goals. Just watch where Mason Mount is. It's actually stunning. He is right there in the box and could score every one of them goals as well. It's amazing. The guy's ability to arrive in the box is outstanding. It's one of the best I've ever seen. And he must be learning some of that off of Frank Lampard as well. Nice thing about him as well, he can play 2 or 3 positions. So, really, you look at his numbers at the moment. I mean, he's not Eden Hazard and nothing like it, not that type of player. But you look at his numbers and the way he's getting in the box and the effect he's having in the game. He's not. It's not the others that are the ones that are replacing Hazard. It's him at the moment.
Yeah, it is amazing, really, what's going on. So they've become the first team in Premier League history, not just Chelsea history, but Premier League history, to have 11 consecutive league goals scored by players aged 21 or younger. Like, I don't know, will that record ever be broken? And, it's still going, I suppose, is the thing. I mean, they may extend it. Here's just a clip of Lampard. So he's speaking. They play Valencia tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch them in Europe as well, you suspect. He was speaking today, and invariably, Tammy, Abraham, Mason Mount, and those younger players are the things people are asking him about. Here's a quick clip.
Well, the way he's going, it's obviously going to put him into that bracket without telling Gareth what to do, but to score 7 goals in 3 games and be top scorer and play with the quality he's playing his all-round game. You know, the three different types of goals he scored are exactly what you want from Tammy. And Messi won, a good header, and then a fantastic feet and finish goal. So he has to sustain it and has to get even better. You know, he has to be hungry, which I know he is. He can never rest on his laurels because there's more work to be done. And that England squad is a few weeks away or whatever it is. So he needs to keep playing at that level, and he'll have a great chance, I suggest. The confidence and improvement in Tomori since he came to Derby at the start of last season, he was already a good young player, but the player and the person, the confidence in him and the personality on the pitch is a great story from seeing it firsthand. And I knew he could step in because he has pace, he has recovery pace, he defended really well as well. And I'm delighted for what that today hopefully can do for him. It's the same as all of them. If they keep playing with the same attitude and train every day like they train, these young players, then they're going to have fantastic careers, all of them. But they must sustain that. I would have been like that. I think when you're a young player, you see people you see what happens when people talk about Mason, England squad, Tammy, Tomori. We look at Callum, who's injured back home. Obviously Ruben's slightly older, Reece James, they both played last night, him and Callum. So that's good. They should aspire. They should feel that the opportunity is there if they deserve it, and they should see their teammates doing really well and want to get in there. And just said it downstairs a lot. It's they're there because they deserve it, and it's important that we also respect the fact that the experienced players have a huge part. William was fantastic today, absolutely brilliant. And if we're going to be successful this season, we can't absolutely rely on the young boys. But at the minute, they're doing a good job of taking the reins.
Okay. Yeah, they sure are. They're loving life, I suspect. Like if you look at that team, Pat, from the weekend, the average age of the starting 11 was 25. So you don't want to overstate things. Rudiger 26, Azpilicueta's 30, Williams 31, Alonso 28, Kovacic 25, Jorginho 27. So it is just a sprinkling of youth, we should emphasise as well. It's just they're responding so well. Could this be an interesting experiment which may have long-term effects, i.e. they're doing so well, and this wouldn't have happened but for the ban placed on Chelsea. You would think that academies now are incredibly scientific and incredibly good, and everyone's doing everything the right way, that invariably they should produce lots of really, really good talent. I wonder and it depends how this all ends, I'm sure, but will Chelsea look at this when the ban is even lifted and persevere? Will other clubs look at this and think, you know, we really need to give the academy model in 2019, 2020 more of a chance, because they just wouldn't have done it otherwise?
Yeah, but clubs are risk averse. And the reason why they're risk averse is because they've got managers, and managers can't wait 2 years for it to happen.
Yeah.
They have to it has to happen today. So the clubs might think that. You're absolutely right. They would love that. I mean, purely for costs, it's a brilliant idea as well. The fans get behind it. I mean, these Chelsea fans are enjoying these 4 or 5 games more than they've enjoyed any other 4 or 5 games for years, even though they're not top of the league. So it has a great effect all round. But if you're the coach and you've been asked to do that, well, it's not going to work for absolutely everyone. And, you know, if you're asked to do that and then 10 games later you get the sack, it doesn't really help you. So it can work, but you also have to have a good system. Chelsea's system has been working well for a long time. Theirs has been a top system. They've generally been winning, you know, the youth cups and things like that. So they've had a brilliant system in place for a long, long time. So to ask everyone else to do it. Other clubs have periods. Remember, Southampton had a great system for quite a long time. And you wonder if that can keep on going forever, because it's a lot of things that have got to do with that. And you have to set up your systems myself. And it's you know, the throughput of players you can get. It's what your sort of, you know, who's your competition, who's the other clubs nearby. Are they're getting better at picking up the players as well. Sometimes you just have a little golden period. Another time it could be 1 or 2 people who are running that system who are the geniuses. And if you lose them, or, you know, they just go off the ball, that there's a million things that can stop it happening. So to ask everyone to go and do it, well, someone's going to fail. And that's hard for the managers. They would like to get the best they can possibly do. Again, back to almost what I was saying about Manchester City. Slight outliers, this one are Chelsea, but then Chelsea have put in probably more time, effort and money than any other of the systems there. And they've been accepted as the gold standard for a long, long time. And by the way, it's not finished. The other one coming through, Billy Gilmour, you just wait for him. He's a cracker. He's going to love as well. So he's only, I think he's only 18 at the moment, but he's the next one off the assembly line. Now, they have to take it on board that he was brought from Scotland when he was 16, but they've got such a good system of scouting that they're able to get these ones really, really young and push them on. But it's a lot to ask everyone else to do it at the same time.
And I presume young Billy Gilmour doesn't get anywhere near the first team Unless the transfer ban is in place.
He's been on. He's got on.
No, but unless the transfer ban's in place, he's not getting anywhere within an ass's row of the team.
Well, I have to be fair to Frank and Jody as well. I worked with Jody Morris for years there with Chelsea TV, where he was doing youth development, etc. And he was always saying, no, they're going to be good enough. They're good enough. And I'm saying, well, I can see one or two. Like, I can see Tammy, he'll be good enough. Don't worry about him. But other than that, there was others coming through, and I thought, yeah, they're okay, but I don't know if they're good. They might even be good enough to be Premier League, but they're good enough to be Chelsea. And he was so insistent on it that he thought they were good enough coming through. So he's in there with Frank. And you talk about, okay, that ban's happened, but I don't know, Frank's got something about him that he just wants to do it that way. So it's not just the ban. With things to happen well, it almost usually needs a confluence of things to happen at the same time. Chelsea have been a bit lucky that they've had that confluence of things happening. They've got the manager who wants to do that. They've got the youth coach who knows every single one of the capabilities of those players. And they've got that ban in at the same time. Do you know, there was one line just at the end of that Frank interview that you did there. I don't know if anyone noticed it. He said, don't forget about the older players, the ones that did well, with Willian, had a great game, and others that can come on. Because that's a big problem at the moment. If you're, say, Olivier Giroud, and you're a World Cup winner, and Billy Gilmore gets brought on in front of you, and he's 18, an important part of a game, how does it? Your nose is so far out of joint, it's unbelievable. So that's one of his big problems going forward. He's going to have to turn around and ask these guys to do it at some point, and they might be a bit miffed because it's all right getting replaced by somebody else who's another World Cup winner or plays for Brazil or as Eden Hazard. But when it's a kid from Glasgow or from Ayrshire who's only 18, that's harder to take.
Yeah, that's a great point. Listen, on that note, clock against us. Thanks, Emil. We'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it.
Cheers. Pat Nevin there. Latest from Villa Park, Aston Villa 0, West Ham 0. Our football coverage is with thanks to Paddy Power. See dunlewy.net for information on responsible gambling. We're taking a short break, and then Stephen Doyle and Stephen Kelly were on commentary duty yesterday at Vicarage Road. They watched Arsenal throw away a 2-goal lead. We'll get their thoughts in just a sec.
Football on Off the Ball
with Paddy Power, the greatest football partnership since Juff and Heskey.
A mouse took a stroll through the deep dark wood. A fox saw the mouse, and the mouse looked good. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have lunch in my underground house. It's terribly kind of you, fox, but no. I'm going to have lunch with a gruffalo.
A gruffalo? What's a gruffalo? A gruffalo?
Why didn't you know?
Reading with children inspires reading for life. Switch off and read with Eason.
This September, all mattress protectors and toppers, all stools and chairs, all DIY and painting accessories are half price in Home Store and More. But better hurry, because when all our half price mattress protectors and toppers are gone, they're gone. And when all our half price stools and chairs are gone, they're gone too. And as for all our half price DIY and painting accessories, when they're gone, they're definitely gone. All offers available online at homestoreandmore.ie or in store at Home Store and More. Home Store and More. Your home made more.
Have a great evening with itsforwomen.ie. Don't live your life on hold. Get a quote now at itsforwomen.ie and see why we're trusted by over 130,000 women in Ireland.
Off the Ball. This is News Talk.
Now then, welcome back. So, pretty dispiriting afternoon for Arsenal yesterday. We had the game live from Vicarage Road on Off the Ball Sunday. Watford 2, Arsenal 2. Aubameyang put Arsenal 2-0 up. And then in the words of their own captain, Granit Xhaka, we were too scared in the second half. No one wanted the ball. In the end, we are happy to take a point. So a fairly grim showing for Arsenal. Defensive mistakes thrown in. David Luiz giving away a penalty. Silly passes. Just a bit of a mess, really. So afterwards, our commentary team, Stephen Doyle and former Republic of Ireland international Stephen Kelly, tried to make sense of what they had just seen at Vicarage Road.
The good stuff, I suppose, for Watford was their attacking. Dale Feo really came in, I suppose, showing the form that he showed maybe midway through last season. He was excellent. I thought Tom Cleverley played well off Andre Gray. Andre Gray went off. He maybe didn't have too much of a good game. We saw little snippets of Ismail Assar came off the bench, their record signing. So I suppose up front, the new boss, or the old boss, as he was, Quique Sanchez Flores, he'd be pretty happy enough with his attacking options.
He'd be very happy. Even Pereira coming on there, I think drew the penalty from David Luiz driving into the box. But they've got players that want to run at you, they want to cause you problems. They've got pace. Deulofeu was excellent, absolutely excellent. His energy levels, but just his intricate player on the box and his directness at just getting at made of lines. Every time he got it, he was trying to run on him. Not once did he turn away and come back. He turned, got drove into the box, was coming inside, having shots. Unlucky to not get a couple of goals himself, and deserved would have if he had one. Decore, I thought, was excellent, driving forward with the ball. Just lacked a little bit of just whether it just, I don't know.
Finesse,
yeah,
maybe.
Finesse, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. And twice the one that was pulled back to him where he's just swung at it and completely missed it, spinning in a circle, and then the other one where he's gone through and goal. So overall, I think Watford will be extremely happy with the way they've played. They'll be disappointed, but when you concede 2 goals against someone like Aubameyang, who knows going to score goals, probably against most teams, you kind of think that's okay. Not okay, but you kind of expect it. But to come up the other end and be creating chances like they did and have opportunities, if they can put more of them away, then they'd be in good position.
Yeah, they've got an experienced keeper there, Ben Foster. He should be okay for the season. They've got maybe problems at the back. I don't know if it's systemic or if it's a thing where they've got the players there that Quique Sanchez Flores can fix it. I suppose he really needs to get Craig Cathcart back as well.
Yeah.
I watched him during the week playing for Northern Ireland against Germany. He was really good, and he could be the anchor for their defence.
Yeah, no, you would think, I wouldn't think there's anything too. They're not lacking good defenders. They have decent defenders. It's just about probably organisation and getting that midfielder to help out a little bit more, because in the Premiership you do get overloaded a lot. A lot of teams are playing 3 up front and then they'll add into that midfielders running on. So you need to get numbers behind the ball and try and defend as best you can. So organisation is key, and having your players in a system and a shape that suits them is important. So you would think Watford are going to try and learn, and as a team going to defend as a team in a whole. But when you have that attacking threat as well, that's a good defensive option, because teams are wary about how good you are going forward, so they won't commit as many bodies forward because they know that you can counter-attack and catch them. So that's going to be something that they'll have in their arsenal as well.
Would you, and I know it's early days, it's his first game back, Sanchez Flores, but would you be hopeful he could get them out of this relegation wire they're in at the moment? It's such early days, 2 points on the board after 5 games.
Yeah, it's so early, and for the bottom of the league at this stage of the season as well, it still doesn't really mean much in the, I suppose, the greater scheme of things. But when you look at how good they are going forward and how good they were today going forward, I know Arsenal defensively are probably not the best team in the world, and their 2 goals came from mistakes from, like we discussed before, the 2 most experienced defenders, Luiz and Socrates. So but the attacking threat they had was excellent. They really did. Like, they pulled them apart at times. They could have scored 4 or 5. They really could have, and they looked like they had the bit between the teeth. I don't know whether there was reinvigorated confidence because of the new manager or is that what the influence he's had. But going forward, they look like a team that won't be in the bottom 3.
Now, Arsenal at the other end, they're going for top 4. That's 2 really precious points dropped after dropping points against Tottenham as well. They've dropped 3 at Anfield against Liverpool. It's not looking good for Arsenal, is it?
No, the problem is with Arsenal, even though you have Aubameyang, I think he will save them so many times this season, because he will get goals for them in games where they probably don't deservedly have them, and they're just frail. They seem a bit frail at the back. They seem like they can give opportunities away. Luiz, again, silly, could have given a pen away in the first half, just threw his leg out, did exactly the same in the second half and got caught, and they gave a penalty. Situations that are going to happen throughout the course of the season where you need those 4 at the back or 3, wherever it may be, just to be solid and consistent. And Arsenal, I don't think, have that consistency makeup with what they have there. So it's going to be tough for them. But like Watford going forward, Arsenal have such a good attacking threat. Pepe, there's glimpses of him today. He looked, going past players like Declan, sometimes, as we discussed before, his final ball was lacking and his finishing was lacking, but he looks like he's got bundles of pace, bundles of energy, great trickery about him, and can cause teams problem. Aubameyang is probably going to be up there for Golden Boot at the end of the season if he stays fit and can continue on in the vein that he is, because he's just such a good option for them, such a good attacking threat and guaranteed goals pretty much. Lacazette into that mix as well. They've got a lot of goals in their team and they've got a lot of creativity. It's just, can they stop them going in their end? So we're talking about 2 different teams that have very similar issues. Arsenal, who are looking for top 4, Watford are looking to get out of the bottom 3. But if Arsenal want to realistically stay in the top 4 and get Champions League, they need to be defensively more solid. Torreira, though, I think when he's in that mix, does help out a lot.
But this where does he come? Because he likes Granit Xhaka. He's his club captain. And if you look at it as like a little triangle, you've got the 2 centre backs and Xhaka sitting in front of them, and they can all drop a clanger. Socrates can drop a clanger. We've seen David Luiz now give away 2 penalties, crucial penalties against Liverpool and today against Watford. And Jacket as well, like he throws himself into challenges. Like that defensive pyramid there is so important, yet Arsenal are so unreliable there.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You're looking for those three to be in defensive players, and for me as a defender, the most important thing is being dependable, being consistent, and they don't offer that consistency all the time, and they're probably the 3 most important people when it comes to the linchpin for your defensive options. So in a way, Arsenal, it's a tough choice for him, because I think Torreira is very good, and I think he offers it just a little bit of tenaciousness in midfield, a bit of aggressiveness, and his mobility around the pitch to stop things is great. But it's an issue for them, and going forward it's going to be something they have to solve, whether they can get better as the season goes on. And like I said, with the players we're talking about are very good players. They're players that are excellent and deserve to be in a top team. It's just they're capable of doing something that could cost their team points, and that's what's happened so far this season. They've caught 2 points they've lost 2 points today down to defensive mistakes, simple pass and a defensive error where he's just thrown his foot at the ball and he's running into the box. You know, arguably what should you do in that position, but stay on your feet is one of the main things. Don't dangle a leg out, and you know David Luiz is experienced enough to not do that, but he still does them on a regular occasion.
Just to they're turning the lights out here at Vicarage Road, so we'll have to move on. But before I let you go, Stephen, got to ask you about the Irish involvement yesterday in the Premier League. Jeff Hendrick, he's been struggling at Burnley to get back into that team. He comes on yesterday, gets a goal, a late goal for Burnley. And what's that going to do for his confidence? Because he really needs to kick on as well, doesn't he?
Absolute world of good. He put in a decent performance with Ireland during the week as well. So he's going to be feeling better for himself. He struggled for game time this season, and he needs to get consistently playing for him to feel back to his best. But coming on in an important game and scoring the goal in the fashion that he did, which was an excellent strike, and what we know he's capable of, and what Dyche will know he's capable of. So for him, it's extremely important. And for us as a nation, we want players that we're going to depend on playing regularly, scoring goals, feeling confident, and coming into international break, just abundance of confidence, and that can feed into the rest of the team. So for everybody going forward, it's important that that's happened, and hopefully now it's going to make him become more of an option for Dyche, where it becomes a starting role.
The issue for for Jeff maybe with Dyche is that Dyche is a flat four midfield. And maybe Hendrick's best position, he talked about it, the Sweden game, Euro 2016, is that kind of attacking midfield. So it's where does he find a place in that Burnley team? Yeah,
it's hard, because that's what Dyche wants, 2 midfielders in there that suit a 4-4-2, that are up and down and offer options both forward and attack. And you could see in the Switzerland game, Jeff got done for the goal when he's driving forward, Schär's driving forward with the ball. Jeff has him, and then he just switches off, and there's little ones here around the corner, and he doesn't follow him into the box. So there'll be little things like that Jeff will have to improve on if he wants to play in a 4-4-2, because as a 4-4-2 midfielder, you don't have, even during the game we had 3 in there, but we still didn't have the luxury of someone covering that space because we were overrun. It was a centre back this time around now, but if you're in a 4-4-2, less so, because you don't have that extra man in there to give you that help. So it's something that Jeff is going to have to learn quickly, and Dyche knows his qualities, he knows what he's capable of, and he does trust him. Jeff is just going to have to continue on, work hard, get his head down, and like I said, the goal yesterday is going to do him confidence no end.
Another man involved in that game was young Aaron Connolly, coming in off the back of a very successful couple of weeks with the Irish under-21s. It's his second Premier League appearance. First was a baptism of fire against Manchester City. I think he played 6 minutes yesterday. I know he made a bit of a mistake, but just from your own experience, Stephen, even though he's getting those maybe 5-6 minutes here and there, how important is that for a young player of his, the stage of his career that he's at now?
It's just when you're that young and you're getting involved in the first team, you're feeling this manager is confident enough to have me on the bench, and then you're thinking he's confident enough to put me on in these games. So he's confident enough to put him on in an important match when the scoreline is extremely fragile. So he obviously feels like he's good enough and capable of having a mentality to be able to deal with those situations. So from his point of view, he's probably going to look back at the game or think about what he did wrong, because that's what you do, you analyse it. And if it was kind of involved in their goal, but you got to be thinking, the manager has shown confidence in me, he's had me involved regularly, I've come off the bench now, I'm in around the first team. If my performance level is high enough, or if there's an injury or there's an opportunity, I might get an opportunity to start here and make a stamp for a regular place. And like I said, as a young player, it's crucial that you're getting some game time and you're feeling like the manager wants you in and around the team.
home. Now that's gone out the window. In fairness to Furco, there's now the Furco Home Renovation Grant. A cheque back for the same amount.
Say that again?
With Furco Windows and Doors, you get a cheque back into your hand direct from Furco. Yes, a few small terms and conditions apply, but you also get a beautiful, warm, secure home.
Well, fair dues to Furco.
For more details, see furco.ie. The Furco Windows and Doors Home Renovation Grant. A cheque back into your hand. See furco.ie. T's and C's apply.
Assistant, I'm eyeing up a business course. What college should I go to?
Griffith College. They mean business.
Lovely stuff. Fit, flex, future. Visit griffith.ie.
EirGrid manages and develops the national electricity grid. You could say it's the heartbeat of Ireland, keeping our country's energy flowing from head to toe across the land, so that everyone has power when and where they need it. Because no matter who your electricity supplier is, it's the power of the grid that keeps our farms and businesses running and our homes warm and bright. Now and into the future, without missing a beat. EirGrid, the current, the future.
I'll place a full history check on black.
I'll put genuine parts on red.
I'm betting roadside assistance on green.
Buying a used Audi from an unauthorized dealer can be a gamble. But at Audi Approved Plus, all our used models come with a comprehensive warranty, free roadside assistance and more. Don't leave it down to luck. Test drive yours at your local Audi dealer today. Terms and conditions apply. Visit audi.ie. To test drive one of our Audi Approved Plus used models and hear about our latest finance offers, visit us at Audi Centre, Bracken Road, Sandyford.
Want a new TV in time for the Rugby World Cup? Then kick your old one into touch and score a great deal at appliancesdelivered.ie. Like the Blue Diamond 39-inch with built-in soundbar for just $199.95. The Akai 50-inch Ultra HD TV for only $399.95. And the Philips 58-inch 4K Smart TV for just $599.95. And don't forget the speakers and accessories. Go on, give it a try! Order online at appliancesdelivered.ie.
Our inspired by Centra premium pizzas are perfection. Choose from plum tomato and buffalo mozzarella, prosciutto and spicy salami, or char-grilled vegetable. Mix and match any two for only €8. Mouth-watering moments created by you. Inspired by Centra. Centra. Live every day.
Fly Ryanair, Europe's lowest fares, lowest emissions airline, and get up to €30 off return flights. So whatever you're after, a bit of winter sun, a ski adventure, or a fun-filled city break, you'll find the lowest fares on Ryanair.com. Ryanair, lowest fares, lowest emissions. Limited availability. See Ryanair.com.
Continuing this week on The Hard Shoulder, Ivan has teamed up with Emirates to give you the chance to win the ultimate Rugby World Cup 2019 experience in Japan. All you have to do is tune into The Hard Shoulder with Ivan weekdays from 4, answer a simple question, and you and a friend could win 2 Emirates flights, 2 nights accommodation, along with 2 tickets to the Rugby World Cup 2019 final in Japan. We're just not sure how to break it to Ivan that he won't be going too. The Hard Shoulder and Emirates, sending you to the Rugby World Cup 2019 final. Not Ivan. Fly Emirates. Fly better. This week on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
Welcome back. So that is pretty much us done for this evening. A few things to remind you of. Later this week, we'll be hearing